Lloyd starts meeting up with the chieftain for the preparation of construction. Both him and Javier bows down. Lloyd said, "We need to start building the arena soon. It looks like a construction should take about a year, but I am quite pressed for time. I would like to use my ability to stop the time of the world excluding this area. I am actually someone from another world and I gained quite a few abilities as I crossed over to this world. So, it will be difficult for your tribe members to get out of the plains." Javier just listens. Even Lloyd told the chieftain about his hidden secrets. In Javier's mind, I am not surprised that he can stop time, but I am surprised that he revealed who he really is. But the crazy guy like Cherokee who only thinks about race and speed didn't mind what Lloyd said. He told Lloyd that he can do whatever he wants. After hearing that in Javier's mind, wait, I am even more surprised by him. Lloyd goes to a large vacant lot in the Central Plains. Lloyd shouted, calling the skill window. A time freeze notification pops up. The notification told Lloyd that the time freeze can manifest the authority of the winter butt that is in Lloyd's heart and freeze the flow of time. Lloyd has 4,655 RP and the RP needed for the skill usage is 3,000. Then the window system asks Lloyd if he would like to use time freeze. Then this guy who read manhwa and watch anime throws the shovel and act like he would become a Power Ranger. This guy shouted time freeze and clicked the yes button. He acts like he was Ben 10 clicking the Omnitrix. With that, the authority of the winter butt has manifested. The winter butt was about to transform, but before that, the winter heart said, "I am not the winter butt, you bastards." Lloyd shouted like crazy as the power of the winter heart has been manifested. Even seconds of time passed, he still shouted like crazy. Until there was no voice that can be heard, and he was shaking because he was out of breath from shouting. Javier just watches on the side because he knows how crazy his master is. The Central Plains was a flat but very vast land. After that winter heart manifested, it was coated with an atmosphere-like thing that covered the whole Central Plains. Lloyd looks disappointed, saying that it was already done. Javier looks at Lloyd, telling him that what happened was so anticlimactic. Lloyd could only agree. Lloyd with Javier walks towards the sphere that separates him from the outside. He told Javier that they need to take a look, and as Lloyd looks at it, Lloyd was speechless after seeing the result. The cat chasing a butterfly was not moving at all. Lloyd stands up and said, "Well, it looks like it works." Javier said, "There wasn't much effect shown upon activating the skill. It's rather disappointing." Lloyd replied, "That is just what his life is like. There is no need to be all fanciful." Lloyd raises the shovel and shouted, "What is important is to be able to quickly finish what needs to be done. It is time to begin the construction." Lloyd's legendary bodyguard, who is a grandmaster, become now a construction worker. Javier uses his sword to slash the ground. For the step 1, use a grandmaster level bulldozer to clear the land. For step 2, while the master is resting like he was in a resort, he will use a grandmaster level worker to flatten the land. In step 3, use a grandmaster level roller to compress the land. In step 4, negotiate with the one-man grandmaster union. Javier, who was annoyed, confront Lloyd. He said, "Something is off. Why am I doing all the work alone?" Lloyd with his ugly face replied, "Didn't you start calling me Master Lloyd again? You said you would do whatever you could, didn't you? Why are you suddenly acting differently after all that you have said? You are so strange. Why are you acting like this? That is why you should be careful on what you are saying in front of Lloyd, or else you will suffer." Of course, since the master had bad behavior, it results in a negotiation breakdown. Next is use Hamang to complete step 3 so that things can progress quickly, and use Bangle to create rebars and concrete. Lloyd looks at how the construction works. In his mind, now, we are at the step 6 and we need to install the rebars. The method to do this is continuously reinforced concrete pavement, also known as CRCP. It lasts way longer this way, and it is perfect for hot and dry plains like this. Lloyd starts brainstorming. In his mind, the measurements of the rebar need to be exact, the installation cannot be crooked, and it needs to be stuck in the place because a lot of things need to be done by hand for all these roads. When Lloyd hired centaurs, they are complaining that their back hurts and it is hard for them to sit down and stand up repeatedly. Some cannot even reach the ground. Lloyd thought that he will need the centaurs' help, but they are so freaking useless. Lloyd was thinking that it can't be helped and there is nothing that he can do. So, he will just relax and the Grand Master will have to do it all. This master is so cruel. For step 7, it is the time to put the Grand Concrete. The Grand Curing is in step 8. For step 9 is the Grand Sand, and the Grand Master is the one who is doing the groundworks. Lloyd shouted that for the last step, all they needed to do is the grand finish. Javier, on the other hand, looks like he wants to beat his master, but he knows he can't do that. The plan can be now seen for real, and the massive arena for racing was already finished. Of course, the major mind for this project is Lloyd Frontera, featuring the greatest hands of Javier. Lloyd smiled looking at the view. He said, "This huge construction project of 7 months is now completed. What do you think, Javier? I am awesome, aren't I? We only took 7 months to complete this. Incredible, isn't it?" But Javier looks annoyed while listening at Lloyd. Javier looks so angry. He was holding his anger this time around, maybe because of being abused and overworked. This guy became a tractor and worked like hell. Javier didn't do anything but just walks out. The system told Lloyd that Javier just showed him his angriest side. But this abusive master just smiles looking at his bodyguard, so annoyed this time. Then after that, an event was held and the crowd was so energetic as they start shouting in that large arena. As the chieftain, Cherican was the one who welcomes the opening of the arena. He shouted, "The race arena of the centaurs. Welcome to the first race. The existence of this arena, and the banning of impromptu races and setting speed limits within the village. I know there are people that are against for this idea, and there are people who support this. But so, what? I am for it. The first title of the first race will claim the rights to propose to my lovely and utterly cute daughter, Sharonin. No way! Even her getting angry is so attractive." Sharonin felt embarrassed and told her father to stop what he is doing. The contestant number 1 is Comanche. Comanche greets the audience. The contestant number 2 is Shumel, but Shumel was teased by the audience. They shouted, "Hey, Comanche, isn't your opponent way too easy? Is he going to roll on the ground again? He will become the first loser in this arena." Comanche starts taunting Shumel. He starts showing off his tongue. He said, "Hey, Shumel, I saw you training in some remote corner of the plains. You were indeed pretty fast. You held yourself back in the village because you were afraid of being crashed into someone, right? But you know you weren't the only one that was holding himself back. There was no need for me to use my full speed against the slowpoke of the village." Shumel didn't mind him. Comanche added, "No matter how much the world changes, losers will remain losers." Shumel was just silent. Maybe he will put everything on the race. Lloyd told Comanche to stop taunting right now. He raised his shovel and told the 2 contenders to be ready. Comanche was smiling and was excited. Maybe he was thinking that he will win and become Sharonin's husband. Both Cherican and Sharonin looked so serious. This time it was not a slingshot that used. With a blast in Lloyd's small shovel, a signal for go was said. Without a second has passed, a strong gush of wind passed by. Comanche was left. Both Comanche and Lloyd lost their clothes because of that strong wind. Even the audience was affected by the strong wind from someone who is running so fast. Comanche wasn't able to move from the starting line. But Shumel had already reached the finish line and was able to create a curve line from drifting. Shumel was really the protagonist of this story. He looked at Comanche and said, "Sorry, I am going first because I have something urgent I need to attend to." The prideful Comanche, who thinks he is the best, was speechless that he was just defeated just like that. Shumel goes to where his love is. He runs toward where the prize is, which is the chance to marry the daughter of the chieftain. Lloyd looks to where the 2 lovers is standing at, and Shumel asks Sharonin, "Will you marry me?" Hearing that made Sharonin cry and tears starts falling in his eyes. Sharonin couldn't take it anymore and he runs to hug Shumel. She said, "You idiot, your proposal is so late." The crowd start cheering after that. Even Cherican was happy to see his daughter in the hands of someone she really loves. Sharonin was so happy and starts flexing her future husband. She raised his finger and happily shouted, "Did you all see that? This is my man. The fastest centaur is my man." Both Sharonin and Shumel looks at Lloyd happily, and Lloyd also smiles back. Lloyd really creates the best love stories with his unorthodox method. But the ending was always happy for those good couples. But when will this bastard create his own love story?